So it happened to be 50 degrees today, so I decided before the day ended that I'd take a ride. I don't know, I just felt like getting on my bike. So I have a motorized bike, which is really heavy, big fat tires, and I don't know how long this battery goes, but I use it to tolerate off trail. And it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of heavy when I want to put some work into my thighs. Right now, lactic acid is definitely building up, but I can do this one-handedly. Last time I did this, I got grief from my patients saying, "Where the heck is my helmet?" And you really should wear a helmet. But that's what I wanted to do, is a video on why. I talked to one of my old friends online, and he had also said that he was doing some distance riding off-road, but where he went it was all sand and he didn't really need a helmet, and I don't agree. So sorry dude, but the brain can tolerate very little trauma, and luckily it's surrounded by a big bag of water to slow down the impact, and also a strong skull. But thing is, even if you have a soft surface, you have average human 150 to 200 pounds that sits underneath that skull. So if you happen to go upside down, ooh, I like going downhill, and you happen to land on or around your head, even though the surface is soft, you still have to negotiate 150 to 200 pounds that's coming on top of that head onto that very soft sandy surface. So I think it does make a difference. I mean, I'm not talking about neck injury and breaking your neck. I'm just talking about the impact to your brain. So concussions can happen if you fall, hit ice. They can happen even if you don't hit your head, and it's just a sudden stop or deceleration. You can actually, on the same lines, you can have concussion with acceleration. I had a drag car racer that had difficulty with his vision because at the start he would hit 6-second quarter miles, and that's a lot of G-force hitting the head suddenly. And even if you have a halo and a cage, you still, that immediate acceleration puts the brain backwards and allows the skull to go forward. That's still concussion in the making. So you would argue the fact that you should always wear a helmet. As dorky as it looks, here's mine. And I think I picked this up at Target or Walmart, but it will still take some of the impact out. I remember taking care of a guy over at Rush Copley, emergency room, lactic acid, and he was on sand too, off-roading with his friends, and hit a tree branch, I think, or a stump in the ground, of all things. Flipped over the stump, hit the ground. He was wearing a helmet, but even if he hit the ground, no rocks, he just hit the ground. He cracked the helmet in half because of the impact of that 180, I think he was on 80 pounds of force, using his head for a cushion. So, and when I was interviewing him with his friends in the room, he would ask where he was, what happened. His friends would remind him, and then within 3 minutes, he'd ask the same question. So that's short-term memory loss, close to amnesia. He didn't remember. No, it was amnesia. He didn't remember the injury or the event. And I got a CT scan because he was having shorter time lapses of lucidity. I felt more comfortable with MRI, so we did an MRI. Nothing really. I mean, on MRI, you won't really see any telltale signs of concussion. With microscopic bleeding, so you won't really have it on that imaging test. I'm gonna go back roads. I don't trust that road. Actually, I'm gonna turn around. Ooh, oh, my legs fried. And I hate cardio. But post-COVID, for some reason I have a taste for animal products and doing cardio. Who the heck am I? Damn COVID. Okay, so anyway, you really have to be careful. Bottom line is, I would still wear a helmet. In race car driving, you're supposed to wear a helmet just in case, as insurance. And most of us that do autocrossing, I do autocrossing. I've been to Firebird Speed Track a couple times. I'm just interested in tactical driving, and that's autocrossing. But even with that, I have seen cars flip over. They don't anymore because they're so wide and fat, but still, just in case, those guys have to wear helmets. Guys that are working power line construction have to wear helmets. Here's the bottom line: if anything happens, you just screwed up your brain, and it might recover, especially if you're healthy, but it might not. You might have residual, and you're not going to die, but your memory will be off. You're moody. You're going to be moody, possibly accelerate depression. Ooh, downhill. But please wear a helmet. At least it should be comfortable. There should be a strap underneath so you can go one-handed and film GoPro. And it should be snug, and it shouldn't fall forward if you shake your head. It's always better to get checked out. The likelihood of dying is low. Likelihood of disability is high. So we're really going off-roading. Oh, I used to take care of USA Boxing. So even the kids that I took care of that did not get hit, you can still suffer concussion. And it takes a lot of whiplash, but it's worth it. So I'll try to show you my helmets at home. Let's just get home first. Oh shit! All right. So that was a cool ride. I mean, I'll take advantage of whatever I can get in the last few days of above 0-degree temperature. But what I wanted to do was finish off this brief talk with showing you my helmet collection. You're probably not interested, but here is some data. It's essentially comparing the for pediatric patients, the argument that at least in Asia, the mandated helmet use with bicycling decreased the events of concussion and traumatic brain injury, which makes sense, right? So the idea would be, if you need an argument, then I'm going to present it to you. And also, the other argument is always have a hat, because you don't want hat head. So that is my bike helmet, and that's the fashion of the bike helmet. Lightweight, protection underneath, strap. You might want a visor because a lot of people are like this and the sun's in their eyes. I just came off of that trail ride and I did fine. I didn't crash. I was about to. That was pretty exciting. But this is my skateboard helmet. A little bit different construction. More built for trauma all around versus just one way, which is the likelihood of trauma. More aerodynamic. Here, I don't think the guys give a crap. This is my helmet for rock climbing. Definitely different. It's essentially to tolerate issues with rocks falling down on you. When you're doing rock climbing outside, even a small pebble, if it comes down at you at maximum velocity, that little tiny pebble can cause a problem if it hits the right area. So, and also this is built, you have to wear a cap with this, so I can put this on. I have a different cap that I use for climbing. And then this is my racing helmet. So obviously the strength of the helmet will be much different than any of these things. So you'll have hang gliding helmets, you have different helmets for different sports. But the reason there's different helmets for different sports is not only because the industry wants to make money, but the velocity, direction, and the mechanism of injury to the brain with the different sports is different. So if you've ever watched martial arts, it's total cushioning all around. I don't have my headgear for my boxing. I probably should have showed you. But that too, even if you're wearing really big pillows and you're punching somebody else, enough force, like I mentioned to you before, even with that rider that I saw, 180 pounds, landing on top of his head with soft sand, that's still trauma. So Again, it's worth it to have prevention. As far as elbows and wrist pads, whether you're rollerblading, perhaps wrist guards. I've seen too many grandmas try their skateboards or their kids' rollerblades and then wipe out backwards, catch themselves on their wrists, and then break their wrists. And that's at least 6 weeks if you're old, 12 weeks if you're old and feeble. So all this stuff is just in case. Like insurance, medical insurance is just in case. Number 1, wear a helmet. Doesn't matter what sport. Number 2, don't be embarrassed. Number 3, wash the inside every once in a while. And number 4, wear a hat just in case, because you don't want hat head. So if you have any stories, even brief ones, put them down below in the comments. Otherwise, wear your helmet, subscribe, share this with somebody else who doesn't wear a helmet, maybe a kid, and I'll see you at the next video.